What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Warehouse Series. So today's going to be part one of a three-part series. Basically, I'm going to go over one of my can orders today. Part two is going to be another can order. And part three, I'm going to put them together. And hopefully you can see the similarities between the two. So why am I doing this is because I've had people reach out to me, a couple people actually on Discord privately. I've gotten donations. They made generous donations for me to have a Zoom call with them, throw some videos out for them, and then have another Zoom call. So if you guys want to do something similar to that, I'm just asking for a donation. I don't have a set number yet, but it's probably something I'm going to be adding onto this channel if you want to get more personable and talk to me personally instead of just messaging back and forth. So with that being said, guys, if you want to join Discord, I'm trying to grow it. I'm trying to make things different. We did an interview with somebody. If you want to be interviewed, reach out to me privately and let me know, and we can set that up. Subscribe to the channel, thumbs up, and if you guys want to make a donation, I appreciate it. So let's get on to the first set of pictures. So in this part of the warehouse, we have water first. We don't always get water, but when I do get water, it goes on my back pallet, all right? Because I do not like stacking on water because they tend to buckle with all the cans on top of them. So I put my water on the back pallet and then I start at my front pallet. And I always start off in a corner and I walk my way across and I just keep going like this down the pallet. All right. And I stack my block a certain way. I am very ridiculous when it comes to stacking on pallets. I don't like cases hanging off at all. If they do, I change the block. So with that being said, start off in the corner here and now here. I got two full layers. Now I'm starting my third layer. I'm swapping. Why do I call them stack my first two layers? Because these three cases right here are bundled together. And I always get them. So I automatically just call them stack the first two layers, and then I tie in my third layer because of these cases right here. We call them 303s. So right here, I'm starting to switch the rotation and tie in my pallet there. And as you can see, I stop right here. And then I start getting into Progresso soups. Now, guys, this is the same in every section of the warehouse. I like that strong front, strong back. So I started stacking my Progresso soups here. A little different than up here. I'm not going the same direction all the time. I want to make sure I keep my light cases together and give me that strong front, strong back, and strong corners. The inside of this pallet is irrelevant if I have a strong back, strong corners, and strong front. So even though I get level the next couple layers up, I still don't really care about the middle of this pallet as much as the front and the backs. So with that being said, let's get on to the next set of pictures. All right, guys, so you can see right here. So I took a picture of this right here. I'm nice and level, but another reason for the picture I had a case sideways or whatever. I had a little hole here. Actually, I had different cases in here. There was something different in here, so I took a Progresso soup and I just centered it in here and just left a gap. All right, it just move cases around. You're going to see on my Discord Friday tomorrow. I do it all the time, guys. I'm going to show you at the end of Discord Friday tomorrow how I just slide cases to make things work. Right here. If you guys have watched my selection videos of me filming myself in the warehouse, I tell you, I put these cases in the same spot every time. These bigger cans go on the back of my pallet and they go three like that. Now, these come in a 10 block, so technically one should be facing in. It hangs off the pallet on both sides. I don't do it. I just go three like this. And then when I get three more, they go directly on top of them every time. I'm not forcing a tie in with the small inside the stack on because this is higher than this. So I go three. I'll do 9 in a row. Call them stacked if I have to. I usually don't get a lot of these type cans. I usually get 6 to 7 to 8. And sometimes I'll even use the inside of my pallet to come inwards. Chunky soup, guys, 4 across the front every single time. Once again, these come 3 with 1 facing in. I don't like it. It hangs off the pallet. I'm really particular about keeping my nice square look on my pallet. So I stack 4 chunky soups across the front all the time. You're going to see that on my order on part 2 as well. Now right here, what do I say, guys? The only time I turn cases this way in this part of the pallet of the cross and T is when I have a level layer. And as you can see, I got a pretty darn level layer. Now this this gravy is just a little bit higher than this corner right here. Now, I always tell you I like high corners, low inside, but if you have a big enough surface to correct yourself at a later time, you are good to go. If you have a small, low corner with a high inside, then you're giving yourself very minimal time to correct that. But when you give yourself that nice flat surface to stack on, you are going to be fine. Now right here, I started getting into LaCroix. I leveled out, started getting into LaCroix, and I stacked them all on the front of my pallet, leaving this open for a heavier cases like you see right here. I just don't like these LaCroix that low. If I was up higher on my pallet, I would run them the whole way through if I had more cans, but I just, it's too low on the pallet. I don't want them down there because I had a full pallet and I didn't want them sliding around. So I took this, I had a couple cans sitting off the back right here. I took them and put them here. Then I got my nice back. Now back here, you can see the water down there that I was stacking on. Two same cases go in the same direction, form a nice corner. Everything else, I got a hole right here. I'm going to put something in. Everything else, guys, what do you see? Down the middle and everything facing the middle. Once I establish a base or I get cases like this, I go right back to my basics. You know, thin row down, you don't see no cases crossing over in the middle right there. Now right here, this is this part right here. I started getting more awkward cases. You're going to see towards the end of this order, the back of my pallet got pretty much column stacked. I kept getting awkward cases that when I get awkward cases, I like putting them on my front pallet because I just think those problem cases are out of my way now. I don't have to worry about stacking them lower on my back pallet. So skinny cases in the middle, Fiji water, there's Fijis here. I throw all my Fijis up front, so they're up against the jack and they're pinned in between boxes and I don't have to worry about them sliding around. All right, guys, in this picture right here, my back or front pallet rather is pretty much full. It's almost done. I started getting awkward catch-ups. See how I'm column stacking, guys? I'm not forcing tie-ins, although this is tying in because the three cases that are underneath of it, it's lipping on to each other. So that's basically a tie-in right there. And I just threw these catch-ups on here at first. I didn't want to put them here because they're too short and stubby. And it's just not how I like things. All right, so I just stuck them to the side for right now. And as you can see, I removed the Prego. I column stacked the catch-ups because they ended up being really nice with the dole in my corner. So that's my goal, is to column stack until I get leveled, then try to tie in. All right, so guys, on the end of Discord Friday tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about exactly what I'm going to show you right here. I took this Ben's rice, I sat it here, and it rocked. All what it took was 2 seconds for me to slide this case right here out just a little bit so this Ben's has something to rest on. And now the Ben's isn't going anywhere. And then I took the Prego, since I'm a little lower on my Ben's, I put the majority of the Prego on the noodles, and I'm keeping a note of this in my head that I can't really focus on putting anything heavy on this side of the Prego because we're going to get a dip into a lower area. That's how I build. I'm just constantly keeping mental notes. The applesauce is back here. You notice I didn't force a tie-in. Guys, these two applesauces coming in this way, it would be too much and it's going to dip into the inside. So I kept them going the same direction. I'm not forcing anything. I kept that case there, and then this eliminated a lot of that gap right there. All right, guys, next set of pictures, we're going to look at our finished results. And as you can see, same thing every time. Tied in cans, got my LaCroix up front, Fiji's up front, Fiji up front. Someone noticed this right here, the LaCroix lid upside down, or bottom top, if you want to so call it. People like to separate their LaCroix to fill in holes in the middle, which is not a big deal, but they take the bottom part and they just throw it to the side. Well, when I get these singles of Arizona Teas and Arnold Palmers, I like, if I'm using these as a corner, they're all right to use a corner if I tie them in with that box top. Now I know it's not going anywhere. If these were separate, I would not put them in the corner. I would have column stacked them right up the middle of the pallet. But I found a top or the bottom, whatever, and I put it on there. Side of the pallet, guys, see right here? So my back's not, like I said, not everything always works out to the way I like it. I tried to get that solid back, but as you can see after this case right here, I started throwing lighter boxes there. I didn't want to stack just weight on there where it's going to get that to rock, because I do have a nice tied in base. And I have two heavy cases, and then I want light cases. I just put lighter cases back there so we're not rocking. Cases are all facing towards the middle. I'm just telling you, I'm like a broken record with that. All right, guys, now this is my back pallet. And as you can see right here, I tie in when I can. If not, I'm column stacking. It is what it is when you get to these type of products. I topped off with lighter cases. See how it just kept coming in? I'm not trying to hurry up and go the opposite direction. I'm just cases facing towards the middle of this pallet as much as possible. That's the front. Look at the back, guys. Tied in. We got a tie-in right here, and guess what? We just go that way, and then we tie in, come back. One in, one in, one in. Two similar, going the opposite direction. Now, this is towards the top of my pallet. I told you I'm not a big fan of using Nors as a corner, but I'm topping it off. This is a small pallet. Side, column stacking all the small cases in the middle, keeping bigger cases on the outside. The other side as well, guys. Just everything. 95% of my cases on the side of this pallet are facing towards the middle. You don't ever see cases that way. All right, guys, so like I said, this is part one. Part two is going to be coming out probably in a couple days, and then we'll finish off with part three. I hope this is helping, and I think it's going to come more together as you see part two and part three. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.